Hi, this is YVON PREHN, and I'm going to share with you how I publish on Kindle and other ebook readers. I just finished doing an ebook, and it's available on effectivechurchcom.com. And in doing that, I decided that I would answer some questions that people have asked me recently on how to go through this process. So what I'm going to do now is I will show you how to get your message out there to a wide audience. That's the important thing. That's the major motivation why we publish online. I'll show you how to do it in a very simple way. What you won't learn from me is how to make money on it. I'm not promising you that. I have been publishing ebooks actually for several years now and haven't made hardly anything, but that's not really my purpose right now. I'm just trying to get a lot of information out there, and a number of things that I make available are free. So this isn't a thing on how to get rich quick or have a second income or anything like that, but I'm going to show you the process that I use to get the material out there. What I'm going to show you also does take time. This isn't all-inclusive. You will still have to learn how to use some of the different programs, but it doesn't cost any money, so you might as well give it a try. Also, this is simply an overview from my experience. I do not want to market myself as an expert in ebook publishing, but I think I know what works. I know how to do it, so that's what we're going to talk about. I have kind of an odd system, but it works. I learned how to actually do e-publishing from a company called Smashwords. Now, I'll show this to you in a minute. Let me warn you up front, there are some parts of the site that are objectionable. They publish some pretty tacky stuff, but so does Amazon, so does everybody else. But I just want to warn you up front, this isn't a Christian company. It's simply a company that tells you how to get your stuff done online. Now, there's really huge benefits to working with them. First of all, after I show you the process that I go through, I found that Smashwords works incredibly well as a way to test your manuscript before you put it up on Kindle. Now, I know I said this is how I do it on Kindle, but I do it on Smashwords first. Also, on the site, they have where you can download the different readers. You can they have links where you can download readers so that you can see how your book will look in different formats. And I'll show this to you in just a few minutes. Also, one of the things that Smashwords does, once again, if you just want to get your material out there, is it does distribute things to every imaginable e-commerce site. Let's now go to Smashwords, and I also want to show you the end result of what I'm talking about. Okay, here we are on Smashwords. Now, you'll notice up here, too, I said they're kind of tacky. I put on what is called the adult filter. That keeps some of their really tackier books from coming up when you just open it up. So I would encourage you to do that. But that aside, you can see that they have, they just list all these different books and things like that. Now, we'll come back to this in just a minute. But here, as you can see, they have a whole section on how to publish on Smashwords. This is absolutely priceless. Their whole process, as I said, will help you understand how to put ebooks together. So let me just go now to my Smashwords, and I'll show you the end result. They do up a really nice author's page. You can have your bio where you can buy stuff in print. And here now you see all of the books that I have available. Now, let me just jump to my most recent one, and I'll show you why this is so useful to me. I did this before I put it on Kindle, because here I'm going to this one. Now, the nice description, I can download it, whatever, but this is what is incredibly useful. When you publish something with Smashwords, it puts it in all these different formats. And this is great because this is a way to check and actually see how your stuff's going to look before you do it on the Amazon Kindle. Now, some of you might be thinking, well, why is it that if you can do it in Kindle here, do you also do it on the Amazon Kindle? Well, I don't know why, but for some reason, when I've tried to publish things, when I put it here, it never shows up on Kindle. When I publish it on Kindle directly on the Amazon site, it shows up right away. So, go figure. But anyway, I'm just telling you my experience. But let me show you how this works. I have already downloaded the Kindle Reader. They, in how to do stuff, they tell you how to do it. But let me just go ahead and hit that. And as you can see, I tried different things. I wasn't happy with how the layout worked. And this is typical. You'll sometimes go through something several times, but this is a way you can prove it. So let me just hit my most recent one. I have downloaded the Kindle Reader, and so this opens up, and here it is. And here's the cover. This is what my cover looks like. And then I can just go through and see what it looks like. And after I did this and I realized, yep, I like how this looks pretty well, then I was ready to take it to Kindle. Okay, here's my process. I do all of my writing and editing in Microsoft. The biggest problem, though, with ebooks is excessive formatting. Word has a lot of coding and different things it'll put in that the ebook readers don't like. And so this is the biggest challenge that you have. So I do all of my writing, editing up front, my rearranging, all of those kinds of things. And then what I do, the way that they talk about to fix it in Smashwords, it's something that they call the nuclear option. Now, this seems like a pain in the neck, but if you do it, things will go very, very smoothly. If you don't, you can have all kinds of problems. And that is after you're done with your manuscript, and granted, this is much easier if you have a short one rather than a long one, but you take what you've done, you copy and paste it into Notepad. I'll illustrate what this means in a minute, but what that does when you put it into Notepad, now keep in mind this is Notepad, not WordPad. Notepad, that strips all of the formatting out. Then, after you do that, you want to copy it back into Microsoft Word. Then you format it. Again, the Smashwords guide details it, but let me show you very briefly, and then I'll demonstrate this. I'll format the headers and the chapter breaks. Basically, all that is just selecting a different style for the headers, and then I find that your stuff looks the best if you do the least amount of formatting possible. That means I have level 1 for the headers. Everything else is only in bold. Also, too, you have to be sure that the curly quotes are turned into straight quotes. In Word, you go to proofing and then autocorrect, and it shows you how to do that. You also, the other thing that I found that can cause all kinds of formatting problems is you have to be sure that all your links are in the proper format. They have to have the http:///www and then whatever it is. If you just have www something or anything that looks like a link but isn't properly formatted, it'll get kicked out of the system. And you have to save your manuscript in Microsoft Word 2003, 2007, or the point doc format. Don't ask me why on any of these things. I don't know, but I just know that if you do them, this works. Now, let me show you briefly how this works out in practice. Here we are in our manuscript. Now, again, when you first work on it, you just want to do all your writing, your editing in Microsoft Word. What's really nice about this, of course, is that when you're working on a manuscript, this is something I use all the time. I go up to View, then Outline, and I will go to just level 1. And this way, if I want to move sections around, I can do that. If I have more than one level, it just makes it so easy when I'm first rearranging things, writing things. But in the process of writing, chances are you will get a lot of things garbled, a lot of things changed. So after you have it the way you want it, you select all, copy it, then you open up Notepad, and paste it in there. As you can see, this has stripped all of the formatting out of your publication. And you might say, oh man, let me tell you, just trust me, just do this. And it'll be so much easier. If you don't, you can have all kinds of little errors hidden away. You'll be going through the manuscript. It can just make it crazy. So just do it to start with. In Smashwords, they call this the nuclear option, and they say you can do that after you've tried to find out all kinds of auto-formatting errors. Don't bother. Just do it from the start. Then I actually open up a new file, nice, new, clean, in Word, and now I select all in my Notepad file, go back to my Word file, and paste it in there. And do that with your text-only option. So you see here, we don't have anything in here. Now, this is where you then can go through and format it. This part, I happen to know that I like to do centered, so I do that. Okay, I've actually set up in my style sheets a style guide for my Kindle stuff. So I have the headings set up the way I want them. Select this section. I want that to be heading 1. And I just go through, and now I just formatted the introduction. I also want to be heading 1. So that things break cleanly, it's a good idea to insert a page break where you have your number divisions. Now, if you want them to create an actual table of contents for you, you need to title your chapters chapter. It needs to say chapter, introduction, chapter 1, chapter 2. As you go through and format, the most important thing to keep in mind is to keep it simple. This is the hardest thing for those of us that grew up learning how to lay out pages and do really beautiful things with them with typography. The thing that is important for you to remember is that when it actually becomes an ebook, you have no control over the formatting other than what you make the biggest chapter titles or things like that. But any kind of detailed size of the text, how it looks, even the font, you have no control over that. Let me show you what I mean. Here we are back on my book again. Now you saw what it looked like in Word. Here we are in Kindle. Now let me just jump back to my Word copy. Okay, this is what it looked like when I uploaded it. These are the fonts, the sizes. Look at how it looks in the Kindle. I had absolutely nothing to do with that. You want it formatted as simply as possible because Kindle will make it look how Kindle wants it to look. People can actually change the font size. They can change the words per line. Readers can do so many things, and that's just up to them. You have no choice in that matter. I personally absolutely detest justified columns. That's what Kindle does. There's a thing I can do about it. I like simply a line between paragraphs. They prefer indenting them. Once again, there's nothing that you can do to change that if you want to keep it really, really simple. Let's look at how it looks in the EPUB format. These are iPads, books, Sony Reader, exactly the same book. But look at how this looks. Very, very different. Now here you can see how you can decrease the text size. You can make it go 2 pages. You can make it larger. Once again, as you can see, it looks very different. Here they did the paragraphs a little bit more the way I like them, where they don't indent the first line, but just a lot of it looks very, very different. So you see the different tools that people use to read it, the different companies, they are the ones that will finally decide how the layout's going to look. And that's really, really important for you to keep in mind. A couple more things. One thing that's very important for some reason is the different systems don't like the curly quotes. They want them to be straight ones. You need to go into your proofing area on Microsoft Word and then autocorrect and change that. I find I almost always still have to do a search and replace throughout the manuscript, but just do that, and then you won't get these funny little characters that come up and jumble up your text. Also, one thing that seems to matter to these different readers is any of the links that you have to be in exactly the proper format. The http:///www and then whatever it is. One of the things that's really nice about the e-readers is people can directly jump to a website, something that you're referring them to, but some of the readers will just kick the whole thing out, won't accept it if they're not in the correct format. So you want to go through and make sure that you do that. And then finally, Smashwords requires that you save it in MS Word 2003 to 2007 or the doc format. That's the only one that they'll take. Again, I don't know why. That's what they do. I do what they tell me to do, and life is beautiful. Then you want to prepare to upload it to Smashwords. You create the cover. I do that in Microsoft Publisher. Here we are, Microsoft Publisher, and it is so simple to create book covers here. A 6 by 9 inch works out proportionally. It just works out really well. Just do what you want to do. I just some free clip art from morgfile.com, and then I put in my basic information. Don't worry about making some gorgeously beautiful, fantastic cover. The thing that is important is that you can clearly read it when it is shrunk down really little. So in Publisher, one of the things that's kind of nice is you can zoom, do it down to even, say, 25%, and if you can still read it fairly clearly, you will be able to read it on a lot of the catalogs. You don't need something really, really fancy. I've kind of learned this one the hard way, and some of my stuff I need to redo, but make your title, name, whatever you want, large enough so that people can read it in small sizes. And then you simply save that as a JPEG. Write your description, because they'll ask for that, just briefly what it's about. Decide if you want to make it free or for a cost. Now, one of the things, you can't have it a different price in Smashwords and Kindle. Whatever you set in Smashwords, you have to have the same price in Kindle, because Kindle, if you make it more in Kindle, they will just revert to the Smashwords price. If you make it free in Smashwords, you cannot charge for it in Kindle. So just be aware of that. I've tried it, didn't work, so I'm speaking from experience. Then you upload everything to Smashwords. That's when you proof it when it's done. As I showed you earlier, I had 4 different versions. There were little things I needed to tweak. And when it's all done, then I take exactly the same file, go to Kindle, set up an account. Now, with Kindle, you go to kdp.amazon.com. That's Kindle Direct Publishing, and it gives you, again, tons of information and all this stuff you have to do and blah, blah, blah. But actually, I have found that if your book looks good with Smashwords, it will be just fine with Kindle. I encourage you to ignore a lot of what they say. Put in your title, you click that you want to save it, you upload your cover, you upload exactly the same file that you did to Smashwords, and it works. Trust me, I've done 3 or 4 books this way now. It just works, and within 24 hours, you'll be on the Kindle marketplace. Smashwords seems to take a little bit longer. It has to go through some process before it comes up on some of the different things, but it really is exciting. Let me show you the final result. It is kind of fun to see all of your different material on, for example, iTunes, and to do what to get it up here, I did just what I showed you, just got these things published on Smashwords, and then they did all the rest of the work. Barnes & Noble, as you can see, they're right up here. So it's just really exciting to have that. And here we are. Here's my books that are on Kindle. Now, some final thoughts. If you want to, once you get your stuff up there for marketing, sharing them, there's a lot of advice on the web about that. The whole thing that is most challenging is just the time that it takes. I have not done a lot of this, so I don't have a whole lot to share on it. My personal ministry goal right now is I'm just trying to get a lot of my material there and organized, and then after I get that done, then, Lord willing, I will do a little bit more marketing. But right now, I feel like I just need to get it up there. Don't expect financial rewards. I mean, there's some people, yeah, they make bazillions out of it. I've been doing this for several years and made very, very little. And you're saying, well, what's very little? We're talking less than a few $100s. And I have a huge website. I have a lot of people who download my material. The thing is, probably 80% of what I do on the web and through some of these things is free. And I'm mostly motivated by ministry concerns. So, that's not to say that making a profit isn't good. And I would like to do a little bit more to support some of the ministries that we're doing. But don't do it thinking you're going to make a pile of money. Don't think that people are going to find you. There are millions of people out there publishing. But it's still an important thing to do because, and this is one of the things that I think is super, super important. When you go through this, you will have learned a new and important way to communicate. More and more is going to tablet computers, to iPhones, to devices like that. And if you want to get your material there, if you're a pastor and you want to share with your congregation, you need to learn how to do this. And so that's one of the most important reasons. But even more important than that is when you do this, you're being Jesus' witness. You literally and totally have the opportunity to do what he said that we should do in Acts 1:8, where he said, you will receive power when the Holy Spirit comes on you, and you will be my witness in Jerusalem, Judea, in Samaria, and to the ends of the earth. You can do that by publishing on Kindle, on Smashwords, on all of these electronic formats, and that makes all the work worth it. May the Lord greatly bless you, keep you, and give you strength as you serve him today in church communications.